everybody, welcome to the channel and happy weekend. It is currently snowing, it's blizzarding outside here in Colorado, but it's really refreshing because we finally have snow. This year, let me just make sure you guys can hear me. The snow has been kind of lacking this year, so we've been missing, that typical cold Colorado weather that everybody knows about. But if you come and live in Colorado, it's very much, you'll experience all four of the seasons in the same day. So it's very interesting. And, today I was thinking a lot about adaptability and us having to deal with our shadow sides and dealing with, the downtrodden part of ourselves, because I've been diagnosed with depression. And I even had postpartum anxiety after my daughter was born, and it's taken me a long time to deal with that. It's taken me a long time to come to terms with my inner demons. And tarot, especially intuitive tarot reading, really brought about dealing with my shadow side. And that's why one of the first things I did when I made Tarot NT was to do a shadow work workshop and teach people about shadow work, because I find it absolutely wonderful. And the only reason I say this is because today I saw there is a serial killer tarot that's coming out. They're round, they're actually really cool, and it's based off of actual real life serial killers, not just men but also women. And I found it absolutely fascinating because, coming from a theatrical standpoint, I've also done some performance art. Dealing with the depths of humanity and the nasty parts of the world can be so very fascinating, because it teaches you more about your beliefs and it teaches you more about who you are as a person. And I find it so necessary, because we always like to, especially nowadays, we like to push the bad stuff under the carpet. And it makes us really inauthentic, and it makes us like ashamed of the bad things we've gone through. So at one point in my life, I had to go into a hospital because of my depression, and they always tried to instill in us to not talk about that we were there. Don't make friends while you're there, because the point is not to remember your time there when you leave. The point is to come in, get better, and then leave and come back and go out a new person. And I didn't like that idea. You're sharing a lot of deep life experiences with these people, group therapy sessions, and even they separated the boys and the girls so we couldn't talk or even look at each other. And it was so segregated in terms of gender, but also in terms of who you were. And it made the whole experience really toxic. If you can't deal with the toxic part of yourself, that dark side of yourself, after you leave, when there isn't any help, I think that says there's a problem. So addressing things like serial killers in our world, or for example the Holocaust, or even during World War II here in the United States with, the Asian community, all these negative parts of the world, everybody's hurt a little bit. And we all have a nasty part of our culture that is hung on and that is claimed in history books. And it just because, we deal with that at one point in our life doesn't mean shove it under the rug. Okay? There's a reason why it's there, so we can learn from it. And it just may be the theatrical part of me that deals with that. But I find that so important, even with tarot. Even the deck that you have, your decks will always have specialties. That's why I create an interview spread, and I always interview every single one of my decks. I find it so important, so you realize what questions are good for what cards, because they're all made with a certain intent. So obviously, a deck about serial killers wouldn't be good for love readings, unless a person picks it for that reason. But there's nothing saying that the deck is wrong for being created. There are so many different types of things in the world, like puppetry of the penis. If you don't know what it is, go look at it. It's a type of performance art from Australia or New Zealand that it's really shocking, but it was made to express something, And yeah, there are some things that aren't condonable, like murder isn't condonable. There's never a good reason that you should kill somebody. And it's considered a crime for a good reason. You're not supposed to murder people. But at the same time, I don't think we should demonize some things just because you don't want to deal with your dark side, you know? And that really ties in today's draw for me, because today has been a very emotional day here in the house, with me, with my daughter, with my husband, everybody. And it was funny, because today I made sure to do a really good shuffle of my deck to make sure I didn't have my stalker card again. And I actually got Love today from Dreams of Gaia. And it's all about not only love for other people, but also loving yourself, because love is multifaceted, and love comes in all forms. That's why when someone dies or someone leaves your life and you break up or things like that, it's not a matter of, you know, it being like that person has died to you. It may feel that way, but even if a person is no longer on this physical plane, that doesn't mean that they're not with you, that their love dissipated, because love is energy. And energy doesn't really go anywhere, because everything is used. It'll come back to you in the form of a new type of love, or it'll come back, as grief, if you're stuck on the fact that the person is not there anymore. So practicing self-love was a huge thing for me today. And realizing that I need to love myself more, because you can only do so much. I discovered, especially when I was pregnant and after my daughter was first born, she would scream and scream and scream and scream. And I was so concerned with never leaving her and never, being away from her or letting her hurt or letting her know that I abandoned her, that I would put myself on hold. So I would not eat or sleep because she would cry and she would need me. And it took a lot to be able to force myself to, okay, she knows that I'm here and I will be there in a second, but I need to actually sit and eat. Because if I don't eat, I can't make food for her. Or if I don't sleep, then I can't safely take care of her, Speaking of little ones awake. So I just found that very interesting today. That was my card, and it really worked. Another thing, today's goddess from the book is Bixia Wanjin. My Chinese is off, it's been a while. It's actually about adaptability. She's a cloud goddess for the Taoist religion, and her whole thing is life can change in many forms. And light comes from the womb like it comes up from the earth. Yes, baby, come here. We're talking to people. So, yeah. Hi.
Daddy.
No, that's not Daddy. It's Mommy. But just that life can come in so many different forms, and just like love can come in so many different forms, and that I find that really interesting and really cool. That she really meshed with my daily draw today. So, considering Abixia Wanjin is about adaptability, how does she mesh up with your cards today? Post a comment below. Tell me how it was, and if you like this video, or think the baby's cute, like, share, subscribe, tell me, what you thought of this video. If you didn't like me, tell me why. And I will see you guys later. Have an awesome day. Bye.